So the deal with Burundanga is that it pretty much eliminates your free will. So you're awake and you're articulate, and to anyone else watching you, it seems like you're perfectly fine, but you've completely lost control of your own actions. So you're at the whim of suggestions, and that's how people take advantage of you.
Congress today reauthorized funding for Facebook, the massive online surveillance program run by the CIA. According to Department of Homeland Security reports, Facebook has replaced almost every other CIA information gathering program since it was launched in 2004.
After years of secretly monitoring the public, we were astounded so many people would willingly publicize where they lived, their religious and political views, an alphabetized list of all their friends' personal email addresses, phone numbers, hundreds of photos of themselves, and even status updates about what they were doing moment to moment. It is truly a dream come true for the CIA.
Much of the credit belongs to CIA agent Mark Zuckerberg, who runs the day-to-day Facebook operation for the agency. The decorated agent, codenamed the Overlord, was recently awarded the prestigious Medal of Intelligence Commendation for his work with the Facebook program, which he has called, quote, the single most powerful tool for population control ever created. Among the biggest successes of the Facebook program is Operation Farmville, which the CIA credits with pacifying as many as 85 million people after unemployment rates rose dramatically. Other features, such as the suggested friends window, have been instrumental in allowing government agents to infiltrate deeper into the friend networks of suspected dissidents. For some expert analysis now on the story, let's check in with the Fact Zone's first responders. Jason, you have written extensively about the Facebook program. Why is it so effective?
Well, one of the key reasons is that the CIA has been so thorough in convincing the nation that constantly sharing information about everything that you're doing is somehow desirable instead of deeply unsettling.
Yeah. You know, the critics are saying that with the national debt being so high, is this really the time to be spending even more money on spy programs?
Well, actually, the Facebook program saves the CIA money.
That's right.
Like the Maps application, where you list every place that you've been, whether it's the state or a country. Or...
Oh, right, with the little pins they show where you visited. Yeah,
yes,
I like that.
That kind of information would have taken the CIA months of going through hotel receipts and plane tickets to figure it all out. The manpower that Facebook saves is huge.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the calendar feature even lets the CIA know where you're going to be in advance. So that's
right. So now if they want to pick you up for questioning, all they have to do is see which events you RSVP'd yes to, and then send their agents to be waiting for you.
That's how they got my brother.
That's right. So effective. But guys, with all the focus on the Facebook program, is it taking away from some of the other CIA programs like the Twitter initiative?
Yeah, the funding for that should be cut entirely.
Right, 400 billion tweets and not one useful bit of data was ever transmitted.
Oh, that's true. Now, is this trend of social network information gathering dangerous? I mean, just last week, the New York Times revealed that Al-Qaeda has designed Foursquare to identify popular locations for bombing.
Actually, Brooke, that's been discredited as any kind of real threat. The people that use that site are people that no one would mind seeing bombed anyway.
Yeah,
So.
really, the only thing the CIA has to be concerned about is people losing interest in Facebook and moving on to a new social network site.
Technological change is going to happen. Scientific discoveries are going to happen. I think with the collapse of communism, I think we recognize that markets are going to happen. But having said all that, we collectively can decide on our fate. That things like technological change, things like mass media, things like the market are all subject to our control. That we can make decisions for better or for worse, and continue to move forward and progress.
And the issue is, does that us include all of us? And if so, what mechanisms for collective decision making will we use? Or does that us include those of us who own the major media and other corporate entities?
You know, I think in the end it has to be, it does have to be a broad us. It has to be democracy with a small d.
Okay.
With a small d. With a small d. With a small d.
Propaganda, starvation, and a complete disregard for human rights. The collective is what you several times. To change your ways, and yet your actions continues.
As a delaying action, all three alternatives included birth control, sterilization, forced if necessary, and the introduction of deadly microbes to control or slow the growth of the Earth's population. It was decided, since the population must be reduced and controlled, that it would be in the best interest of the human race to rid ourselves of the undesirable elements of our society.
day of the dictator is over.
We still seek no wider war.
The United States does not start fights. America does not seek conflict.
I don't like to use military force.
Our nation enters this conflict reluctantly. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations. Last night I ordered U.S. military forces to Panama. No president takes such action lightly. This morning, I want to tell you what I did and why I did it.
In covertly recorded off-air transmissions from the Bush-Clinton presidential election campaign in the 1990s, we can see that Bill Clinton was nothing more than a puppet to the puppet masters which placed him in the White House. Bill Clinton's demeanor seems to be similar to a person who is under a hypnotic trance.
After 1989, President Bush said, and it's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, new world order, a new world order, a new world order. In a few moments, I will sign the North American Free Trade Act into law. NAFTA will tear down trade barriers between our three nations. We are on the verge of a global economic expansion. I believe we have made a decision now that will permit us to create an economic order.
My fellow Americans, today our armed forces joined our NATO allies in airstrikes against Serbian forces responsible for the brutality in Kosovo. We have acted with resolve for several reasons. Today I ordered our armed forces to strike at terrorist-related facilities in Afghanistan and Sudan because of the imminent threat they presented to our national security.
At this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations to disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger. On my orders, coalition forces have begun striking selected targets of military importance to undermine Saddam Hussein's ability to wage war. These are opening stages of what will be a broad and concerted campaign.
Will you pledge that by January 2013, the end of your first term, more than 5 years from now, there will be no U.S. troops in Iraq?
I think it's hard to project 4 years from now, and I think it would be irresponsible. We don't know what contingency will be out there.
Well, that's a very provocative statement. You previously said that all options are on the table with respect to Iran. The real meaning of that you're setting the stage for another war.
They're in the process of developing, and I don't think that's disputed by any expert. They are the largest state sponsor of terrorism.
It's common knowledge, and has been reported in the media that that Al-Qaeda is going back into Iran and receiving training and are coming back into Iraq. I'm sorry, the Iranians are training extremists, not Al-Qaeda.
Iran is an adversary. Their pursuit of nuclear weapons poses a grave threat to us. Have no doubt, Iran possessing nuclear weapons will be a major threat to us.
Who the hell are we going to nuke?
Senator,
tell me, Brian.
Iran is a serious threat if it gets nuclear weapons. To the region, I understand that, but they're in the process of developing.
Which passages of Scripture should guide our public policy? Should we go with Leviticus, which suggests slavery is okay? Or we could go with Deuteronomy, which suggests stoning your child if he strays from the faith? Or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount? A passage that is so radical, a passage that is so radical, or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount? A passage that is so radical that it's doubtful that our own Defense Department would survive its application. Folks haven't been reading their Bible.